Hello everybody, it's me Colton Johnson with Empty Popcorn Bucket Productions. I went and saw Masters of the Universe. This was a movie that was sort of on my radar when I heard that MGM/Amazon was going to be bringing this franchise or this sort of thing back into pop culture. I was like, sure, I'll take it. And I gotta say, as someone who I didn't grow up with it, I really don't have any nostalgic yearning for He-Man and all those other fun characters. But I know that these characters definitely meant a lot to an older generation, like the generation of my dad and many others. And so I had that understanding, but I also grew up understanding some of the memes, like this one.
And so I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head. And I little peculiar.
And you can see why I was kind of, let's get a He-Man movie in 2026. So I have to say there was a lot of things with the marketing of this film that were pretty cool. Jared Leto's in the movie, if you didn't know. The movie doesn't explicitly tell you that, nor does it need to explicitly tell you that. But I'm glad it did the way it did because I'll get into it later. So, Masters of the Universe, directed by Travis Knight, it's about a story about a boy named Adam. He is from this world of Eternia, and he gets thrown to Earth. Years later, we catch up with him, and he has like this destiny that's kind of beyond who he is, that he one day will live up to. And we follow that story back home, and all this stuff goes on. There's just a lot of great moments. Kind of reminded me a little bit of, I'd say, Guardians of the Galaxy meets Dungeons and Dragons. And there was like something else that it made me think of. But it just like had such a fun vibe that I just thought it was just a blast. So first, the story. Something that may come across as nostalgia baiting or, oh, let's dig up this nostalgic thing from the grave and shove it down people's throats. This movie didn't go about it directly like that. Yes, it does hark on the past in a way that the older audience is gonna love, but it's very fresh in the sense that newer audiences who aren't as familiar with the characters are definitely gonna get a kick out of it. I thought that the story was pretty well done. Yes, we have a little bit of a prologue that, Thor Ragnarok, that's what it made me think of, was Thor Ragnarok, or some of the Thor movies. But we have this prologue, we get to see younger Adam and kind of just the context of what's going on before it takes us back to an older Adam. But it's really interesting. I am not a big fan of prologues like that. I know it's necessary for the plot, and it was fine the way it was, but once it jumped into older Adam and kind of jumped into the story, that's when it really got me, and I was very invested. I thought that, we could have seen a little bit more of him on Earth, but what they gave us was sufficient to move the story along. And his goal was to get the sword, which he gets the sword, so forth, and eventually returns to Eternia and kind of needs to go towards taking upon the sword, all this. I'm not going to go into spoilers because that's not what I do. Go check the movie out for yourself. But story's so much fun. He goes up against Skeletor, played by the infamous Jared Leto, and it's just a lot of just great moments, great action set pieces, great just humor, great needle drops, beautiful visual effects, which we'll get into in a second. But it's just this wonderful piece of just summer blockbuster cinema that I feel like we really need. And it's not like dumb cinema. It's really something that feels purposeful yet satisfying. Yeah, it does sprinkle in that nostalgia for those who want it. And I mean, it works for what it is. And it got me invested, and I thought it was great. The direction Travis Knight put into this movie, I'm actually not familiar with Travis Knight. I could have done my research, but I neglected to do so. But what he put into this film, you can see that he does have a love for the source material, that he really wanted to put in the effort, not only to give audiences a fresh take on He-Man, but also hark back to what people love with the iconic music, and it just blends so well together. Just the way the characters take upon the story too is also very well done. So moving on to the characters, obviously we have Adam. I don't know this actor, and I thought he does an extraordinary job. And he carried the movie, which I mean, for the lead of a movie, carrying the movie is what we need. He does phenomenal. His character arc is great when he transforms and takes upon him the sword of Grayskull or whatever. It is awesome. Super, super cool. And I like visually, it was just wonderful. The action that that character takes upon, but he's layered. He lived his life on Earth, and so, and it's funny. On Earth, he's like an HR dude, and so he doesn't just want to take things with action. He wants to like solve problems like a human would, and I thought that was super cool. The other characters, Idris Elba's character was awesome. I thought he did really well. The female lead character was great. But I think one of the standout, and I hate to say this, but I don't hate to say it, Skeletor, played by Jared Leto, was one of the greatest film villains we've gotten in a long time for this kind of film. He does really good. And he definitely like puts in some extra like spice to the character, but also like bringing in what the character is and bringing in so much fun, but also like villainy. It was great. It definitely felt very cartoonish, which I feel like that was very intentional, but it was very well done in the way that he portrayed Skeletor. There was also a lot of other supporting characters that were really well. One I felt like was very underutilized, that I feel like I definitely will come back if this becomes a franchise, is the tiger. I don't remember the tiger's name, so forgive me, but I thought the tiger was really cool. But I just wanted more. But what we got of the characters were great. And now we'll move into the filmmaking, the craft, the visual effects, the score. The score, probably my second favorite score of the year. I believe Daniel Pemberton also did the score, which he did the score for Project Hail Mary, which is currently my favorite score of the year. But I love the callbacks to the original series and all that. I thought it was very, very well done and just super fun. But the score overall definitely like kind of got me dancing a little bit. The sound design was really good, and there was a lot of great needle drops in the film that I thought was amazing. The visual effects in this movie were awesome. Yes, it might lean towards more of a CGI look, but there definitely was a handful of visual effects that the movie did play into that were also very well done. I think, I think the film is going to be great for a lot of people, and the impact of this film is going to be awesome to see. Yes, it may lead into this bigger franchise of things, ways they set up the future, but I think it's done in earnest, and I think we need these kind of films in the world we live in today. There's just like a hope that these characters bring that makes me feel inspired. And as someone who loves movies, I had a great time and I ate all my popcorn. So, I mean, not to say that's because it was entertaining. It just was a great movie, and I don't know. I loved it. It was a great time. If there wasn't so many movies coming out this month, like we have Disclosure Day, which is Spielberg's next film. We have Toy Story 5, Supergirl, a few films, almost a film a week. I would love to see this movie again. I probably won't get a chance to while it's still in theaters, but definitely check it out. My full consensus of this film is I'm leaning towards, it's more like a 4.7. And when a film in my rubric lands on a 4.7, it takes a minute for me to fully decide. But with the feelings that I'm feeling, like an hour or so after I even watched the film, I'm leaning towards the 5 out of 5. Though there's a handful of films that are above this in the films that I've seen this year, this movie packs a punch, and it was very entertaining. It was very fun to see on the big screen, and I just loved it. The music was great. Overall, go check it out, especially if you're a fan of it. Or if you have no idea who He-Man is, buy a ticket, sit down, get some popcorn, and enjoy the show. Let me know if you've seen this movie, what your thoughts were in the comments below. Please check me out on TikTok, Instagram, and Letterboxd. That's where I do my full reviews of things. Not full reviews, but you know what I mean. I'm planning on coming out with a video towards the end of the month for my top 10 favorite Steven Spielberg films. I'm currently going back and watching Spielberg's films that I've never seen or haven't fully seen in a long time. So stay tuned for that. My next big review will be Disclosure Day, which I hope to catch next weekend when it releases. But there's a lot of stuff going on in life, so we'll see. But thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.